Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome in. Kathleen here. I'm so happy to see you here on this Tuesday, February 24th. Well, I can't see you, but you can see me. I'm streaming live here in the Animal Angel Connection Facebook group. And if you're watching me also on the Mustang Mindset Messages YouTube channel, I want to welcome you in. Please subscribe while you're here to catch more animal wisdom. I wanted to go live today with some messages. I've been away for a few days, and usually I go live on the weekend, but I may just start mixing it up a bit and going live when I get that intuitive nudge to share some messages. So anyway, welcome in. I hope you've been having a good start to your week. And I wanted to start with the messages. I pulled right away a message from the crow. You're not alone. Co-creating with spirit is the message that's coming through. You know, we think we're doing this all by ourselves, and we feel, you know, sometimes we can even fall into a pity party of, woe is me, I'm all alone, but we're not. You know, we're surrounded by our animal angels, you know, animals that have passed. And of course, you know, whether you believe in God or divine, that divine power that's there to help you, to support you. And it's time to co-create. It's time to ask for help and visualize your, shall we say, spirit team that's there for you, that can help you, and tune into the messages that you're getting. Because if you're an animal empath, which is someone who's, you know, a sensitive animal lover, you're going to be tuned in probably more than you realize. It may feel like, you know, there's stress and confusion and all this noise. And if you're the type of person that wants to get away from people, maybe you don't even feel like you like people, you'd rather be with your animal than people. Excuse me. You know, your animal friends, maybe your best friends. You know, you're really tapped in anyway because you're picking up on so much information that's around you. So why not pick up on spirit, co-creating with spirit, and all of that support that's around you to help you. So that's what the crow is saying. So I started out with one card that I'd already pulled, and this is what I'm getting is, you know, that you're not alone. So really, like in the morning, take a deep breath. Imagine, visualize the support that's around you from your animals, for example, like I said, who've passed, those animal angels, others, you know, ancestors, God, and other angels that can be around you for support, and really tune in to what it is they're trying to tell you. You can also do some muscle testing, you know, and I sometimes do the okay sign, put the other finger through, ask a question, pull on it, and if it's, you know, if you're getting a strong answer, it's harder to pull your fingers apart. If it's a weak, if it's a no, like if you ask a question, like, should I move to this place? Should I get into this relationship? One way of tuning in is using that muscle testing. So that's just a quick tip for you. When I work with clients, the point is to open you up to receive that guidance as well, and to share the guidance that's coming through. So I'm going to pull some more cards and see what other messages we're getting. Elephant. Learn from the past. You know, the elephants have an awesome memory. They remember everything from the past. So it's a time to be aware. You know, it's not a time to beat ourselves up and feel like this remorse and regret. And I've been hearing this lately from people who are like, oh, I shouldn't have done this and I shouldn't have done that. So we don't want to get caught up in remorse, but we do want to just learn from it. You know, it was all about learning that lesson. You know, I've looked back at times and thought, well, if I could change something, what would I want to change? And that's not the point. It's really about the journey. It's about the lesson and what we've learned from it. And quite frankly, of course, we're not meant to know the future, you know, because if we could see like all of the stuff we would go through that was difficult, we wouldn't want to go in that direction. But all of those scars, you know, all those wounds make us stronger in the end. So it's really about learning from the past. So free yourself from regrets, you know, take a deep breath again, let go of any regrets and understand what the lesson is and whatever it was you experienced, and tune into that wisdom. It's all about the wisdom is what the elephant is coming through with. Okay. I'm going to get another one here as I shuffle the deck. Always, always, always an important message around boundaries. As you move forward in whatever direction it is you're going in, as you co-create, as you use your wisdom from the past, the armadillo is always, you know, a message around boundaries, right? That shell. But it's not about having a shell to the point where, you know, you're, well, I was listening to a song yesterday from Simon and Garfunkel, I am a rock, I am an island. And it's all about how, you know, I think he's been hurt in the past and he's shutting out the world. And I have my poetry to protect me, he says. And so it's, you know, all about, you know, putting around that wall. So we don't want to have a wall. We don't want to shut people out. And we definitely don't want to shut out those messages that are coming through that are meant to help guide us and co-create. So there's kind of that glass boundary. I often do mirrors facing outward as a visual, you know, around us to protect us, but to deflect the negativity. But we want to let in the positive messages that are meant to come through, the things that we're meant to know. So do allow those messages to come through. And, you know, while you're protecting yourself from the unhealthy things out there, the toxic people and the news that we can get so caught up in. And as empaths, it can be so draining, you know, this digital burnout that we can get. So you want boundaries against that, but you want to be open to whatever's coming through, whatever you're co-creating. So it's just a healthy boundary. It's not, you know, super solid and, you know, putting up a wall and just being, you know, keeping everybody out, shutting everybody out. That's not good either. So it's always about that happy medium, right? That I think about when it comes to food, because I wrote a book on that, Lose the Diet, and it was about, you know, everything in moderation, right? And if we try to be too strict about what we're eating, then things, you know, can get out of whack, and then we crave stuff and we end up eating too much. So anyway, we want to have things in moderation with our boundaries and other things in our life. So the grasshopper's coming through again. There's a leap of faith here. Is there something you're afraid of? Because when you're co-creating with spirit and when you learn from the past and when you have those boundaries in place, it's okay to take that leap, you know, and let go of the fear. And especially what comes through for me is the fears always come from, the past experiences, right? So we're afraid something happened in the past. Maybe we got into a relationship before that was a bad relationship, and then we say, I said this myself. I've worked with women around narcissistic abuse recovery, and, we can say never again. And I said that I'm never getting married again. I'm never getting into a relationship. Never, never, never. Because we're afraid, we have that anxiety that, it's going to come back to bite us again. But when you learn from the past, as the elephant says, when you learn from the past, it doesn't mean that we should be afraid. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't take that leap, So it's about being open, says the grasshopper. Be open. If the grasshopper doesn't leap, they're not going to go anywhere. And it's the same for you. You've got to allow yourself to go places, or otherwise you'll just stay stuck. And when I work with clients, part of it, is healing our beliefs and our fears, because that's like primarily what keeps us stuck. When we feel stuck, we usually know what we want on some level. Our heart knows, but we are afraid, because this happened before. Sometimes we're just not even consciously aware of what it was that, that caused the fear. And that's why we have to go really deep and get some insight to understand why we feel fearful, because it can get buried from somewhere in the past. So don't let that past hold you back. Learn from it, take the leap, and, again, you don't want to stay stuck if you do not want to stay stuck. So anyway, let's move on, get another message, and see more about how all of this is coming together. This one is really standing out. If this doesn't really come up with an awesome message, the squirrel is about believing in yourself. And you'll notice the squirrel has the acorn, and the acorn holds the oak tree. It looks like this tiny little thing, but in there is that seed for the strong oak tree. We got to believe in ourselves. So it really ties things together. I always talk about fear and belief. Here they are right here. Are you fearful to take that leap? Do you believe in yourself enough to do it? So if you're feeling held back, if you're feeling stuck, it's going to be like one or the other, a fear or a belief that's holding you back and keeping you spinning your wheels and not living a life that's true to you. And that's what excites me so much, is seeing others, really get unstuck and into alignment. I feel like my camera's slowly moving here. Getting unstuck and into alignment, right? Because we're all meant to live that unique life. Let me just fix this here. We're all meant to live that life that's unique to us. The life that's only we're meant to live. It's everybody's different. We've all got different twists and turns on the path. And we can't live that uniqueness, that alignment, when we're, stuck in the fear, stuck in the past, and not listening to our intuition. So no, if you're tuning in here, chances are you've got one heck of an intuition that's really your, superpower that you can tap into so that you can, it really means about going in, intuition, and really listening to what our heart's trying to tell us, and the messages that are trying to come through from those who are supporting us that are unseen. And of course, we have angels here on earth, right? Living angels, people and animals who are here to support us and help us on our journey. So learn to co-create, release, fears and beliefs created by past experiences. Keep those boundaries, but make them healthy. Don't block everybody out. You still need to receive, right? You want to keep out the bad and let in the good. And take that leap. What is it? I'd love to know in the comments. Is there something you're thinking about? Is there an area in your life where you've been contemplating making a change? Maybe it's in your career. Maybe it's in relationships. Maybe it's where you're living. Those are probably the top 3. There could be other areas of your life where you're thinking about taking a leap. You're not sure, and there's something that's holding you back. You may be receiving messages, or at least the messages are trying to come through, but you may be inadvertently blocking them, or you've received the message and you're staying stuck because of the fear or the belief or whatever might be holding you back. So what is it that you'd like to change, or you've been thinking about changing in your life that you've been struggling with? So let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for being here. I'd love you to like the video too while you're here. And anyway, I hope this message helps you this week. Keep it in the back of your mind. It's some great wisdom here from the animals to help you and support you on your journey in life. And sometimes, as we animal lovers know, if we could only be more like the animals, right, we could have so much more going in our lives if we could, they're not afraid to be who they're meant to be. They're not staying stuck because something, I fell down before and now I don't want to get up. They know they have to get up to survive. So don't let that deter you. If you've fallen down in the past, know that you can get up again and move forward and live that life that you're meant to live. So thanks again for being here, everyone. If you're feeling stuck and you're ready to go deeper, message me or go to mustangmindset.com and learn more about what I offer. So thank you again, everyone. See you later. Bye for now. Have a great week.